Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark TV. You guys know who I am. I'm Dr. Angela Butchester, and you know what I like to do on my show? Say it with me. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And that's what we want to do today. We want to get you fired up about International Women's Day. And our theme this year is accelerated action. My guest, Dr. Lena Payton Webb. So go on, get comfy, get cozy, get your coffee or get your tea because we are about to get started. Hello, Dr. Lena. Thank you so much for joining me on Daily Spark.
Hello, Dr. Angela, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You are a woman doing awesome and amazing things. There was no way that we were going to let this day pass by and not have such a trailblazer, have such a woman of inspiration not join us. I'm so glad that your schedule allowed. Now, we realize that there may be some folks that are unfamiliar with you and what you do. With that being said, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are? What makes you you?
Yes, so Dr. Angela, thank you again so much for having me. And for those who don't know me or familiar with me, again, my name is Dr. Lena Payton Webb. I'm the owner of Blue Impressions Publishing, where we empower coaches, speakers, entrepreneurs to turn their expertise into powerful, profitable books. So we use self-help books, custom coloring books, workbooks, and journals. So we take their framework and turn it into clear, transformational published assets that they use to build their authority, attract clients, and create additional streams of income. So we take your genius and package it up into a book, and then you present it to the world.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yes.
You know, as someone who interviews authors many times, I know that your work, what you do is so important because that's one of the many worries, complaints, fears that people have is I don't know how to do the next step. Sure, I could write the book, but I don't know how to get it out there to the public. How do I know which way to go, who to trust, and what to do? So you are definitely servicing those that need a this particular service. It's somewhat of a vulnerable time. So thank you for what you're doing and making sure that they get someone that they can trust. Now, speaking of trust, International Women's Day. Now, we have heard women say many times over, trust women, right? Because we are the nurturers. We're the ones trying to make it happen, not just for ourselves, but for our family and for our community. So I want to ask you just a few questions about your experiences or how you encourage the women in your circles to be their best. So when it comes to empowerment, I think something that we both have spoken on in the ways in which we share our career choice with the world. What is a bold action that you have taken that you find has been a barrier breaker? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have been the first, but you were someone who continued to make the path clear for someone else.
So, Dr. Angela, for me, one of the things that I did very early on in my adulthood was my journey in the military, right? So that by itself was bold. It was scary, but it was it was bold because you just don't know what that's going to look like. We see the things on TV, but to actually sign your life up for something like that, like literally sign your name on a piece of paper that says, I'm going to do whatever you say do. I'm going to go wherever you tell me to go, and I'm going to do whatever it is you tell me to do. And you can't dispute it because you signed up for it, right? So that was bold. And for every woman that I ever encountered along that journey, they were just as bold, right? And for us to be in that space together and to be able to pull each other up and to be there for one another, or even just to be there at the same time in the same space, was pretty comforting to know that somebody else was just as bold as I was. So that right there was, I think, probably the most boldest thing I've ever done. And then to stick with it, right? To stick with it for as long as I did, was amazing. That right there. So for any woman who has ever served in the United States military, you are one bad sister. You are bold in all your greatness. Don't let, in regards to what anybody ever tells you, you are bold. Well, you're bolder than most men, because most men don't, they have not done what you've done. So that's a bold statement in itself.
I love it. I love it. And you know, you're right. I think that that's why so many, I'm going to say moms in particular, when they find out that their son or daughter has signed up, it's like, what? Oh my goodness. I can
Instant
no
panic.
longer
Instant
protect
panic. They're
you.
like, oh,
Right. I can't save you. I can't protect you. I can't come get you. You
mhm.
now belong to that branch of the military. May God bless your soul,
Yeah.
because you're right. It really can be a frightening choice. But at the same time, I think once you get over the initial shock, you end up being that proud parent of, you know, my son or daughter is serving in the military, and especially our daughters, you know, because like you said, it is a bold step. It is not a field where women necessarily are in large numbers. Women are there, but perhaps not in large numbers. So you are so right there. And Dr. Lena, thank you for your service as a former military wife, as a military mom. I know what it is like to worry about those when they are deployed, even when they are home. It is just the concern of get them there and get them home safely. So thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
your
And thank
service.
you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, many women in particular, when we are talking about empowerment, one of the things that are keeping them stuck or stagnant is their hesitancy. They're afraid to really kind of step out in faith. They're afraid to do that next thing. What are some ways that you encourage women, or flip side of the coin, that you perhaps have been encouraged? How can we help women get over that being hesitant, being afraid to step out?
Oh, that's a good one. So for me, I always ask myself, what's the why? What's the why for that thing? What's the why and why you need to do that thing? And then looking, if you weren't scared, or if you weren't hesitant, what would be the reward, or what would be the outcome of you doing that thing? So if you think ahead a little bit, right, then normally that's enough to get us through the being stuck, and maybe get us to take some action. But a lot of times it's a lot, the limiting beliefs come from other things that we hear, right? Or other things that we may see on social media or on TV. But if we remove all that noise and think about the why, that's enough, at least for me, to keep moving, for enough for me to keep showing up, for enough for me to do the thing that I know that I should be, that I'm called to do. So I think that knowing your why and moving in that creates a space for us to get the mission accomplished.
I love that answer. And it is the perfect segue for my next question. And that is, when it comes to work or career, momentum for a lot of us, and especially if you're an entrepreneur, momentum is key. If we lose some of that momentum, it's either starting all the way over from ground zero, or it might be missing out on a client, an opportunity, whatever it is. How do you stay inspired? How do you keep your momentum going, moving forward?
So momentum is, especially in business, because you know what, as a mom, as a wife, as a grandmother, there's always a trillion and one thing, other things going on, and they don't stop, right? Those things do not stop. You don't stop being a wife. You don't stop being a mom. You don't stop being a grandmother. And but the balance, learning how to balance is one thing, but to keep the momentum in business is, it's a skill, right? It's a skill because being a business owner or entrepreneur is not an easy feat. It may seem easy when you're looking at it from the outside in, but us business owners know it's a constant moment by moment stride. You have to always be showing up. You have to always be doing the work to get the results that you want. Now, if you don't want results, then don't do any work, right? But if you know you're called to have impact and to help those that you're called to serve, we have to constantly be moving, constantly be doing the work. And it still goes back to the previous question, the why, right? If you're at work, especially if you're working in a space where you're helping other people, those people are dependent on me. authors are dependent on me to help them get their books out to serve those that they're called to serve. Business owners are looking for the tool that I may have that's going to help them to reach the client that they can't communicate with, to keep steady clients coming in. So knowing the why helps me keep the momentum going. Now it's okay to slow down and it's okay to take a break when need be, but you plan for that, right? Like you plan for it. And if you get stuck, that's okay too. But just don't stay there. Like just keep going. Just keep going. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I think that for so many folks, when they start to lose that momentum, they become frightened or even more
Mm-hmm.
hesitant of, well, am I doing it right? Is this did I really hear God tell me to make a left and a right, or was it a right and a left? And the self-doubt starts coming in, and the self-sabotage sets itself up and, sits in
Yes.
the front seat with you. And it really and truly can be so incredibly frustrating, I think, especially for those first starting off. I think as we grow and mature in our business the same way we do in life, we kind of learn, okay, I've seen this pothole before, different street, but I've seen
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
pothole, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know what to do. I know what not to do as well, so that I don't lose that momentum. I love that answer from you. Now, do you think that that also plays into the habits that we keep? I know that there are certain things that I do, but I'm a planner type. Like I like to have it written out. Do you think that certain habits help us with not only obtaining our various successes, but keeping that momentum going?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think habits, especially habits in your life, which your parenting as a wife, mom, all those things. We have habits, right? So certain things gonna happen on Saturday, Sunday, whatever the case may be. So we do have the same type of habits in our business, right? Especially successful business. You're gonna do calls on this day, you're gonna have interviews on that day. So whatever you have to plan for your success. It just does not happen. Social media may make it seem like it just happens. Society may make it seem like it just happens, but believe me, it does not just happen. I can pray for all the success, I can pray for all the guidance that he's going to give me, but unless I make the habits and do the work and do the strides, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Just like the things don't happen at home, with our kids and our family and our spouse. That it don't just happen. It took a lot of effort and a lot of structure to get everybody on the same one accord to know, okay, on Mondays and Wednesdays you clean the bathroom, on Tuesdays and Thursdays you do the dishes, right? So the same type of strategies and things we need to do in our business to keep afloat as women or as individuals that's working, to be successful. We have to do the same type of efforts, and it's okay. Your success schedule may look different from mine, but whatever works for you, and it's fine. It's okay.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And as you were saying that, it brought so much to mind, but it really and truly is the fact. And I have to remind many times, as a pastoral counselor doing couples counseling, that we have to remind folks it doesn't just happen. I mean, love is awesome and amazing, and having God as the head of your life is awesome
Mm.
and amazing. Now, are you ready? Turn the page. Work, right? Like it is going to
Lots of
take
work on top of that. Lots of work.
it's going to take lots of work. And if you don't want to show up and put in, then you are not going to get out. We
Yes.
we have to put those credits in if we want to debit out. And many times when I say that, folks are like, "Oh, yeah." Like, "Yes, absolutely."
Like I got a word for it.
It's not going to come overnight, because if it came overnight, then everyone would be that thing that they want it to be. Which
Hmm.
which led me to the other thought that I had. I saw an interview with Anthony Hamilton, and this was easily over 10 years ago. And the person interviewing him said, "Oh my goodness, well, now I guess it's more like maybe 15, 20 years ago." The person said, "Oh my goodness, did you know that you were going to be an overnight success?" And he laughed and he said, "I never knew that overnight was going to take 10 years." And that really stuck with me, because for people on our side, right, we're thinking, oh my goodness, where did this guy come from? He just
Mm-hmm.
came out of the blue. As with, I'm sure, so many artists in particular, it is the days of grinding, of going to stages that you perhaps don't want to go back to, or going, traveling further than you would want to, being away from your family. But that's part of getting to where you want to
Yes.
go.
Yes.
So putting in that work is so vital. I love that. I love that. Well, Dr. Lena, it is time for us to take a very short break. But one of the things that you mentioned is that you help people with this publishing company of yours. If someone wants to look into that further, wants to seek your assistance for help, what is the best way for them to contact you?
Yes, so the best way to contact me is our website, and it's pages2profits.com. Pages, Pages, the word to profits with the s.com. And so there you can sign up, you can connect with me there, and then we will definitely connect with you on social media, LinkedIn, and all the places and spaces. But that is the go-to space for anybody that's looking to connect with me.
I love it. Alrighty, everyone, we'll be back right after this.
Hi, do you have something to share? Be a guest. Want to sponsor an episode? Visit drangela.chester.com. Thanks again for watching Daily Spark TV.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark. Well, Dr. Lena, I just love what you are inspiring people to do, and that is step out in faith, do it scared, don't let anyone talk you out of it, be yourself. Everyone has been called to purpose, and never forget your why, right? Like we
That's right.
have to do all of those things, and that is so important. But I want to ask you about the creative space. So many people have great ideas, but they're afraid to be creative, or they don't know how to express themselves. How do you encourage, or what guidance can you give? Disclaimer: if you want full and complete guidance, purchase the service. This is just the sample. Okay, now with that being said, what type of guidance would you give to someone who says, I want to be creative, I think I can be creative, but I'm not sure?
Oh, that's a good one. So for people, I would say if you all of us are creative in one aspect or another. Some of us are probably have a little bit more, we're blessed with more than others and or in different ways, right? But I would say lean into what you're comfortable with. Like figure out what that is. Is it music, or is it drawing? Is it words? And whatever that looks like for you, just don't be afraid to embrace it. What's the worst thing that can happen? And then that thing that you think that um you may not be your strong suit, may be the thing that is a gift to somebody else, right? So maybe your words may be the gift for you. Maybe it's your voice. Maybe it's the way you write. Maybe it's the way you speak some words. Some people don't actually write the words, they speak it, because that's the gift that they have. So, but lean into whatever it is and just don't be afraid to use it. God He gave us these gifts and these talents for a reason, to share with other people, not to hold on to it. But so we only get the one chance to make the best of this one life. So why not explore every possible spot in your life that you can? So yeah, tap into your creativity. If it happens to be with the book, then we've already given you where to connect with us at. Go ahead and do that. We can lay that out for you. We can show you how to do it, right? And then in this space, if you're trying to figure out what to do with your words, I would say this: write down 5 things that you think you want to share. The 5 things you could be most impactful. And then one by one, figure out which one would have the most impact. Ask yourself, who could I help, or what life could I save with one of these 5 stories? And pick that one. Pick that one, and that's the one you should tell.
Ooh, I
That's the one
like
you should
that.
tell. It could be either a song, maybe it's a song, maybe it's a book, maybe it's a poem. But write 5 things down. It could be 5 things you've experienced, 5 things you've learned, five, whatever. 5 things that are heavy on you that if I told somebody this, that it would help them or save a life or maybe make their journey easier. take that thing and then figure out if I want to sing about it, write about it, or just share it with the world in poetry or whatever, however you want to do, paint about it. Just let that be a space for you to share with other people. And I think that'll help.
Oh, yes, you are so right. I mean, I know that you do that professionally, so I know that you know that you're right, but you are so right. Because as you were saying that, it made me think about I love music. And it made me think about how when there is a song from an artist that is especially touching or moving and it goes triple platinum overnight, right? And they asked the artist, what was the inspiration behind the song? There is usually some form of, it was a heartbreak, it was an
Mm-hmm.
experience, it was a joy, it was an emotional connection to
Mm-hmm.
the song in some way, shape, or form. And not just for them, but usually for their songwriting team as well.
Yes.
Everyone has a little bit of their own personal heartbreak, happiness, or joy that
Mm-hmm.
they added, and you could feel that because it was expressed as so. And I think people really do connect with that when they see that you're not pushing fiction, but that
Yes.
you're being
It's
authentic and that you're
authentic.
sharing your story.
Yes.
Yes, I
It's
love that.
authentic.
I love that. So, my next question for you is about making swift decisions. In all that we do in aspects of our business as well as in our personal life, sometimes we don't have the pleasure of having 24 hours to think about it, a week to think about it, but we need to make a decision then and there or within an hour. How do you help your clients, those that you mentor, work through the importance of a swift and knowledgeable decision?
Hmm. So when it comes down to making decisions, especially in business, it's almost like in life when you have to make a decision about your kids or your husband, right? You know them, you know how they operate, right? So I know if my husband walk in here with a certain kind of demeanor, I know that something happened, right? If my daughter comes in here and she's like, "Mommy" versus "Mom," I know something's coming, right? So even in business, um, we walk when you're walking in when you're authentic and you're true to what you're doing, you know, right? So we just have to have faith and know that you're making the right decision. And if you make the decision and maybe the results are exactly what we dreamed it would be, it's part of the journey and it's okay. It's okay. So we learn from that experience, we regroup, and then the next time something comes around, you like, okay, I know that walk or I know that tone, or to your point, I know that pothole. So this time I'm gonna go around the block, right? So I don't hit it. So it's part of the journey, but I learned something from it and it's okay. So it's like in a space where we're at, authors, some things work for some authors. Some other authors may have to take a different route because their books serve a different clientele. So that's okay. This may work for you. So, but for you, you may have to go this way around the block, around that pothole, and to get to where you're going, but it's okay. So we still want to take action. We want to take it in confidence and just know you're doing the best with the information that you have. But regardless to what happens, the outcome, um, although sometimes it may not be what we may want, it may be part of the journey that God wants us to go on to learn from that experience. So the next time when you face that and you go around the block, your outcome is going to be even greater.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that answer. And you're so right. When we are in tune with those that are around us, you're right.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't have to open their mouths. It's just how they open the door. And it's like, ooh,
I already
that's
know
right.
what's
I can
coming.
tell by the way you breathe, the way you're holding your shoulders up or whatever it is. And you are so right. And I think the more that we experience that, the better we should get at
Yes.
certain things because
Yes.
we have that life experience as a part of our resources and our tools. Now you said a word there in your answer, and that is faith. Now I realize that everyone experiences their faith differently. They express their faith differently. And this question is not, do you go to church every Sunday or Saturday or pray 2 or 3 times a day? But how has your faith as a whole helped you to become the person that you are today?
Oh, so my faith for me it plays a very pivotal part in who I am and what I do. So just real brief. there was a period when I was in the military, just living, doing all the things I thought I was supposed to be doing, serving my country, living my best life. But God showed me that, listen, I need you to slow down and do what I want you to do. I created you to do a certain thing, and you're not doing that. And in that process, He gifted me with what they call the gift of cancer. I call it the gift of cancer, right? People like, you called it a gift? I said, yeah, it was a gift. It was a gift because it could have been worse. So He gave me that gift. And in that gift, I went through the process of losing my eyesight for a period of 4 years. So I was blind, legally blind for 4 years, which made me value my gifts, which was to be creative, which now in that space, it made me magnify my faith in Him because I had nothing but that. That's all I had. I couldn't rely on the military. They left me laid up in the hospital for all the months. I'm still waiting to hear from them, right? So, and that's what I knew because I had been in for like 20 years at that time. And when that happened, I didn't have that. I didn't have the Army checking on me. All I had was me and the Lord, right? So He took me through all that to bring me to where I am now, not knowing what my life was going to look like. I'm thinking I was going to continue to serve the man's army, because that was my desire. But God's desire was, no, now I need you to walk and do the thing I created you to do. So I had to lean wholeheartedly into that, and my faith in Him has been nothing less than remarkable. Because if He can take me from not just beating cancer, but restoring my eyesight to where now I can walk in my true gifts and talents and use my eyes to see you and see the world. Not that I don't struggle with them, because these eyes of mine give me trouble every day. But to me, when people ask, I have 20/20 vision. But yeah, but that's just how great He is. He takes you on a journey to learn from the things He needs you to learn from, so that you can then be the person that He needs you to be, to share your gifts and talents with the world. So my faith plays a very valuable part in who I am today and what I'm called to do.
I
So
love it. I love it, love it, love it. Dr. Lena Payton Webb, thank you so much for spending some time with me here today,
you're
not just
welcome.
on Daily Spark, but for International Women's Day 2025. I truly appreciate your being here with me.
Oh, I thank you so much for having me. It is always a joy and a pleasure to be in connection with you. And I just pray the most blessings upon you and what
Thank
you
you
do.
so much. Thank you. And viewers, listeners, thank you so much for spending time with us here today as well. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to spend it with us, and I thank you for doing so. I hope that we have once again enlightened, inspired, and empowered you. As always, may the Lord continue to shine His face upon you. May you receive His grace and His mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.
Welcome to Daily Spark TV. Are you an author with a faith-based book? Be a guest. Serious about your product or service and want to try something new? Sponsor an episode. I see you're ready to get started. So visit drangela.chester.com. Thanks again for watching Daily Spark TV.